Don't call him a he, cause she's a she. It's Elegant Elliot often.
Hi, everybody. It's your transgender girl, Miss Elegant, Howard Stern's prime time, big time, marquee, front and center, opening night celebrity. As usual, we'll start off with a segment of godliness, holiness, and righteousness with the point, and purpose of trying to make the world a better place to live in and a safer and a healthier place to live in. So I had a couple of people over the last couple of weeks come up to I, just in general conversation, Miss Elegant, and tell me they were like having stress. They were distraught. They feel their parents are taking advantage of them. Their parents are getting over on them. Their parents are wronging them, their parents. And I said to these encephalitic victims, I said to these quasi-low-life victims, these loup-garous, these werewolves, that this is my favorite words. It's elementary, fundamental, and rudimentary common sense. Your parents can never take advantage of you. And they said like this, why? And they were trying to explain to me, because your parents were partners with the Rabbono Shalom, with the master of the universe. They gave you life. They brought you into this world. That is your convolution. That's your circuitous convolution. That's your distortion. That's your fragmentation of real life, that your parents are taking advantage of you. That's the fifth commandment out of the 10. You will honor your father and your mother. You will honor your father and your mother. Your parents and God gave you life together. They cannot take advantage of you unless, of course, in a case where sometimes you have some psychopathic parents and they cut your arms and legs off. You know, they do something which is an abominable abomination, abomination. You like those words? But outside of that, outside of something cataclysmic, cyclonic, catastrophic, an abomination, your parents will not and cannot take advantage. They gave you birth. They gave you life with God. But what you all should be thinking about in this segment of godliness, holiness, and righteousness is that we have about 7 billion people on planet Earth, and only 14 million of them are Jews, Jewish people. The Jewish people have 10 commandments, and we have like 613 total commandments. Most of them we can't do because our holy temple was destroyed in Israel. So, but all of the rest of the people, the non-Jewish world that make up the 7 billion people, why don't you start acting like righteous Gentiles? At least do your 7 Noahide laws, the 7 universal laws. Do your part. Please God. Make dear God, your maker in heaven happy. Don't commit murder. Don't steal. Don't commit idolatry. Don't commit adultery. Don't curse God's name. Establish courts for justice. And things like that. Now, by all of you doing that, you will be ingratiating yourself into the good spirit of dear God, so that you have a better chance of living a healthy, happy, pain-free, no pain and suffering. Now, Only God in heaven will determine whether you're going to have pain and suffering, right? In sickness or illness, or be in optimum health or in good health and have a wonderful life or a miserable life. Only God will determine that. But one thing is for sure, if you do all the 7 Noahide laws for the non-Jewish people, and you're constantly thinking of ways to help other people, and constantly thinking of how you can make the world a cleaner, nicer, healthier, safer, more peaceful place to live in, your chances are that much better that you won't have any catastrophic, disastrous issues and pain and sickness in your life. The chances are that much greater. Only God can guarantee that, though. Okay. On the subject of, we always have a segment of health, right? So the segment of health is that the FDA has decoyed us, deluded us into thinking that 25 grams of dietary fiber will do it. No, they're a bunch of losers, lefty Louis and losers, lefty Louis and losers. You need triple that amount. You need 75 grams, but insoluble fiber. Now, why insoluble as opposed to soluble fiber? Because the insoluble fiber, check this out. This is like a vacuum cleaner, right? It's like a whisk broom. It's like a suction cup. It's taken out all the poison from the lower gastrointestinal tract. Now, we went through this. The lower gastrointestinal tract means in particular, the large bowel, the cecum, the ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, and anus. So if you've lived a disastrous lifestyle in terms of eating, like your lifestyle is butter and eggs and milk and cake and ice cream and pork chops and steak and pizza, then all of this poison has caked up. It's caked. C-A-K-E-D. It's caked up into the intestinal membrane. You like that word, membrane? The intestinal walls are caked up. So I don't mean to gross anybody out. We may have spoken about this once, or maybe when Art had his podcast, but I'll do it again now in the final few minutes. So you know that you're in trouble with lacerations or lesions or polyps in the gastrointestinal tract if when you're trying to have a bowel movement, okay, I'm not trying to gross anybody out. This is just facts of life. Your doctor should be telling you this instead of cutting you open. So when you're trying to have a bowel movement, if you're squeezing, like, picture this, a tube of toothpaste that has the last few drops of toothpaste in it, like Colgate, you're squeezing it. Well, if you're squeezing to get the bowel movement out, you're half dead already. That means the colon walls are jammed up with dead feces. Dead feces. It's called, and I'm trying to think, I just lost the words. Can you believe I just lost the words? But whatever it's called, the feces are lodged into the walls of the intestine. You're carrying around dead feces. So the walls have become narrow. So when you're having a bowel movement, you'll have a thin strip and you'll be squeezing, you'll know you're dead. Children don't have bowel movements like that. They have big fluffy bowel movements, look like a Carvel ice cream cone, right? Little children. You know why? The pipes, the tubes, the colon walls are perfectly clean. They haven't lived long enough to contaminate their body. So the point being is simple. If you don't want to have, and by the way, I like when the doctors tell you, it's so funny. Well, it's only a benign polyp. Benign polyp. There is no such thing. A polyp is a precancerous tumor. A polyp is a precancerous tumor. A polyp is a precancerous tumor any way you look at it. That's why the doctors, when they see polyps in the sigmoid colon or the descending colon area, or even the transverse colon, they take them out. You know why? Because it's not a question of them being benign polyps. It's a question of them being precancerous tumors. Precancerous tumors. Okay, so, all right. Now, digestive health, digestive system health, you can be rest assured, for all intents and purpose, if your digestive tract and digestive system is healthy, for all intents and purpose, your endocrine system is healthy, your respiratory system is healthy, and your cardiovascular system is healthy. We rely on the digestive system to bust down the food that we're eating into liquid form and supply nutrients throughout the body. Simple, right? ABC stuff. If you're putting all of low, if you're living on a low fiber diet, a low residue diet, and a sedentary lifestyle, now check this out. Bowel movements are also dependent on peristaltic action. Ask your gastroenterologist if he knows. And if you have no movement in your body, if you're living a sedentary lifestyle, then your peristaltic action is being challenged. So aerobic oxygen-consuming exercise, jogging, running, bicycling, running up and down your stairs 1,000 times, whatever it is, this increases the peristaltic action and decreases the transit time, meaning how fast is the stool going to leave the body. Now, you can be sure of this, just as sure, right? I'm going to give you just as sure. I've used this one once before. Just as sure as the exocrine pancreas, right? The exocrine pancreas can never, or I should say the duodenum can never receive bile unless the sphincter of OD is wide open. That's a physiological certainty. If your stool is fluffy and soft, you don't need any colonoscopy, you don't need any sigmoidoscopy, you don't need any endoscopy, you don't need any proctoscopy ever. Now, I'm 70. I've never had any of that kind of stuff. Now, I know what those instruments are, right? The proctoscope, I did this with Art, and it's called a proctoscopy, right? A sigmoidoscope, it's called a sigmoidoscopy. A colonoscope, you like that word? The brain dead people call it a colonoscopy. It's a colonoscopy. The endoscope, it's an endoscopy, right? The laryngoscope, you like that word, laryngoscope? It means a laryngoscopy, a laryngoscopy. The doctors are looking for malignant cells. They're looking for any sign of a malignant tumor. You can beat the rap by staying away from everything that has toxic chemicals, toxic additives, toxic preservative, toxic chemicals that will all come back to bring toxicity and toxemia into the lower gastrointestinal tract. Okay, so check all that information out, even better than your gastroenterologist, with somebody in the holistic homeopathic field. And yes, they will authenticate, validate the validity, and corroborate and substantiate and support every word that Miss Elegant said to be true. Jerry Gerard, you there?
I'm here.
Start off with, check out the sequence outfit of Miss Elegant. All sequence, right? Sequence. And G-string all the way up high G-string. Vagina high level, and the Air Max. Check out the shoes. Air Max, funky, kinky. Air Max, right out of the box from Art, you know, the days of Art Vernon. Overnight, $270 out of Airmail, $270. The Air Max React, the $270s.
Those cost $220 easily.
I said they overnighted him for Art, the old guy Art, $270.
Oh, I thought 270 was the version of the shoe. My mistake.
It happens to be the version too. It's a funny play on words. It happens to be. It's the Mac, it's a Nike Air Max React 270. It happens to be that. You're right.
All right, so let's get right into it.
Okay, go ahead. Get into it. Get right into it.
Besides the debate, the news that I've heard the most this week is about.
Take the marbles out of your mouth and speak louder.
I said, besides the debate last night, the news that I'm hearing the most about is the disillusion, the disavowalment, and the disintegration of your relationship with Mr. Vernon. Is there any chance it can get fixed? And if not, who is going to be bankrolling your elegant lifestyle that requires a minimum of $300,000 a year based on last week's math?
Right. Let's hear those triplicates. You want to try to speak like Miss Elegant. That'll never happen in the next 1,000 years. But let me hear the three triplicates again.
Dissolution, disavowalment, and disintegration.
I notice. I like when you're saying those words. Disembowelment?
Avowalment.
Disembowelment?
Avowalment.
Speak into the microphone.
I am speaking into the microphone.
And but you know what's happening? I don't think you have the words too sure, because here's what you're doing, Jerry. Every time you're repeating the words, you keep looking this way, like you're looking at a piece of paper, trying to read it off. You shouldn't do that. You should have that in your mind, like Miss Elegant does, to be able to blind it off with blistering and blinding at bullet speed.
I don't have that skill set, Miss Elegante. I'll work on it.
All right. So the question is, the delusionment and the devoutment and the whatever the words you use, use them all wrong. Okay, I can't even think of them because they didn't make any sense.
Disintegration.
Oh, disintegration. Yeah.
Relationship.
Disintegration. So, and you want to know who's going to bankroll my lavish, elegant, luxurious lifestyle?
And can this relationship be mended, or is it fait accompli?
Using all my words, fait accompli. Fait accompli. It's FAITACCOMPLI. It's French. It means it's a done deal. But it's a done deal the other way. Not that it's a done deal to the negative. No, it's irreversible. It's in the coffin. It cannot be exhumed. The body can't be exhumed from the coffin. It's lifeless, it's listless, it's hapless, it's hopeless. There is no life, there's no oxygen there. It can never, from now to death, even in the time of Mashiach, the Messianic era, if that comes, there's no more connection, association, or relationship. Association, relationship, or connection with Artless. We call them Artless and Miss Elegant ever again. So, I'm going to tell you, that's a good question, who's going to bankroll my lavish lifestyle. We haven't completely figured it out yet. That's Y-E-T, yet. I have a person here with me, Gangster 2, Schroen, and he may be part of it. I don't know. We haven't made a definitive decision at this point. But he could be some part of supplying cash. Because yes, I don't intend to downsize or cut back on my lavish lifestyle just because Art is gone into the wind, into the dust, and he's dead and buried. I don't intend to do that. So I will be having people to do this, to bankroll this until the money comes in. Schroen, who's here not on camera, may be one of those people. There may be a few people, because this is a very high ticket. I have a lifestyle that's high maintenance, financially speaking.
Okay. Next question. There's been a little bit of.
Do you like the statuesque cuts of the leg, from the thighs, the break, the statuesque, curvaceous curvature. Every chick wants legs that curve like this. That curve! But only Miss Elegant. You know, I just want to interject one thing. Your boy, Howard Stern, said to Miss Elegant, go back to the archives and prove me right. Right? Elegant, walk off slow so I can look at your fine ass. Now, there's the greatest womanizer in the world, right? He has all the playgirls, the strippers, the strip teasers. Boy, he said it to a transgender girl. Walk off slow so I can look at your fine ass. Stern, check it out. You look like Sarah Jessica Parker, you know, from, what's the show, Noah?
Sex in the City.
You look like Stern says to Miss Elegant, you know, you look feminine and you sound feminine. Well, of course I look feminine and sound feminine. I'm a transgender girl. These were the words of Stern. Stern's words. Go back to the archives. And so every girl in America wants ass and legs like that.
Wonderful transition. A lot of people in this transgender community, one specifically that I know, Tamina Quinn, saying that you can't have it both ways. You can't be transgender and then wear the men's clothing on the high holidays. It's not working. So I think you need to be a little more clear about your plan with that, because it seemed that you played both sides of that fence. And there's a little bit of blowback against
When I gave that laugh on the Stern show, Stern said, Miss Elegant, that's your maniacal laugh. Nobody can ever do it like that, ever. Nobody. Everybody was trying to copy right, and the maniacal laugh of Miss Elegant, right? What's your question, Jerry Gerard?
Well, if we're going to skip over that, I guess
you said that. Don't put any words in my mouth. Don't do that. No. What was the question?
My apologies.
You're welcome.
So here's a question that's come up. When's the last time you've had an intimate relationship, and was it with a man or a woman?
But that wasn't the question before that. What was the other question? First, let's get to answer that.
You told me it wasn't a question. I told you that the transgender community is a little concerned that you're playing it both ways.
Oh, is that what they're concerned about? So,
yes, Nina Quinn.
Anita Quinn? Nita Quinn?
Nina Quinn.
Who is she? Who is he?
She's a transgender girl on the board that we're on.
Tell Mr. Quinn, Miss Quinn, tell her that this is my money, right? This is my way. This is my show. This is my life. I'm going to play it any way I want to play it. And what are you going to do about it, right? That's gangster talk. My way, my money, my show, my life. If I want to play it that way, this way, and if it's the high holy holidays, and I'm going to give all the reverence and respect to dear wonderful God in heaven, responsible for my health, my life, my safety, and my freedom, and everything else, I'm going to do just that. And what is Miss Quinn going to do about it, right? What are you going to do about it, right? Next. What's your question next?
Can we do a little word association?
Yeah, word association. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Rabbi Krasniowski.
What is that?
Rabbi Krasniowski.
Okay. A very fine, dignified, upstanding gentleman who brought me into Yiddishkeit and brought me him and his wonderful mentor, Rabbi Shalom D. Lipskar, from the shul in Bal Harbor, Florida, at 9540 Collins Avenue. They connected me to Hashem, and they're such great people. Now that you asked, I'm going to make this short and sweet. When I came out of prison back in the early 90s or late 80s, I have to check my diary, very late 80s or very early 90s, I was on Collins Avenue. I was on house arrest. I couldn't leave Florida. I was in prison in Florida, in Jasper, Florida, in Hamilton Correctional Institution. I couldn't leave Florida. They had me on house arrest. I couldn't even come to New York. So I was running up and down on Collins Avenue in G-string lingerie. Rabbi Lipskar's mother said that I'm running with such force. I look like a hurricane. Like a hurricane! That's the force I was running with. Rabbi Lipskar just saw me, and with my face, I looked Jewish. I had like a Jewish look. And believe it or not, So here's an Orthodox rabbi with a beard and a black hat and sits on, and he comes over to Miss Elegant, and he says, "You're Jewish, right?" And I said, "Yes." And this, like, after the run, I was like doing a cool down, and he said, "Well, why don't you come to shul," meaning synagogue, on a Friday night for Shabbos? So what am I getting at? These are like the gems of the gem, the greatest of the great people. They're not judgmental. They didn't care that I'm girlied up. They didn't care I had stockings, panties, makeup, G-string. They're only thinking about getting me to do mitzvot. Mitzvot. Come to shul, put on tefillin, light a Shabbos candle, give tzedakah, start studying Torah, do things to connect me to God, get me closer to God. So that's where the Yiddishkeit, the Frumkeit, the Menschkeit really started with Rabbi Lipskar in Florida. And then as soon as I got off house arrest, I took my probation, which immediately followed that, to New York. And then I was with Rabbi Benzin Krasniansky for the last quarter of a century, like for the last 25 years, at 419 East 77th Street. By the way, now that you mentioned Benzin Krasniansky, just very quickly, check this out and prove Miss Elegant to be a person, again, of impeccable integrity, unimpeachable credibility, and veracity that's beyond reproach. You got the words? Beyond reproach! So I gave yesterday, on Tuesday, the day after Yom Kippur, September 29th, one dime. It's bookmaker gangster talk for $1,000 in cash money, 10 $100 bills to the shul, to Rabbi Krasniansky, as a Yom Kippur donation. Now, the shul was packed, like it's a small shul, but it was packed, 100 people, women and men. And the rabbi, Benzin Krasniansky, said, "We have an appeal. Doesn't have to be a monetary appeal, just a resolution for what you're going to do after Yom Kippur with your life, how you're going to upgrade your life, how you're going to help, what are you going to do?" So I said, I raised my hand immediately. I'll start off by doing an act of good deed by giving $1,000 in cash money tomorrow morning after Yom Kippur. Well, yesterday morning, I laid out $1,000 in 10 $100 bills. Now,
that's very benevolent.
Now, just quickly, the shul was packed. 2 other people followed my lead, and they gave money. Nobody else is giving cash. No one else is giving their hard-earned money to the synagogue. And I feel like, that's not horrendous, because you have to, the tzedakah is one of our great mitzvot, one of the great things to sanctify God's name by giving money to the synagogue so they can help less fortunate people. They're going to take that money and give it to homeless people, to people in need, to people that are in desperation. So, all right, so that's what I did. That's the way I started off after Yom Kippur with $1,000. And by the way, right now, while we're waiting, Art's gone. Money is not flowing in yet, like it will be, God willing, soon. That $1,000 wasn't an easy $1,000, but I did it because it was the right thing to do. If we need any verification of it, 212-717-4613. 212-717-4613 is the number to Rabbi Benzin Krasniansky, Kabbat of the Upper East Side, and he'll validate the validity of every word that I just said.
Authenticate the authenticity.
Oh, you want to steal? Oh my, what gee whiz! Isn't that stuff that Jerry Gerard? He loves the vernacularity. He loves the lingo of Miss Elegant. Wow. Well, everybody does.
It's the what do they say? Imitation, the most sincere form of flattery.
Right, Jerry. Right, exactly.
Okay, so unfortunately, I think we're going to be. My time is short today. I think we're going to have another host, but I have one final question on religion.
Yes, Mr. Jordan.
There's a video that came out about a year ago of Miss Elegante in a very similar outfit to this in front of a synagogue. It looked like they were maybe picking on you or you on them, and there seemed to be some disagreements. Do you know about that video? Because there were some words thrown out by you, Miss Elegante, that could be considered a little defamatory.
Mr. Gerard, I hope you're not conjuring up something, concocting up something, contriving up something, fabricating something up. Because
I would never do that.
I have a memory that's like second to nobody, and I have not the vaguest, not the most ambiguous idea of what you're talking about.
Fair enough. I'll send it to Noah.
Please do, please. I'd like to address it. Please do it right away. Do it right away.
So I'm going to hand it over now to a man known as Sucker Swift. He's going to be taking over, but I'm hoping that we can do this again because I have so many more questions. Take it over, David.
Gerard, we will do it again soon, God willing. God willing. Hi, Sucker Swift.
Gary Gerard. Hey, how's it going, Elliot? How you doing?
Your brain dead, right? Your brain defective. You're encephalitic, right? You're a little dementia precox. You like that word? Dementia precox. What do you mean, Elliot?
Elegant, Miss Elegant. I apologize.
That's all right. Don't ever let it happen again. Don't ever
Never
let
again.
it happen again. You got the picture?
Right between the eyes.
That's the way I wanted you to have it. Right between the eyes. Go ahead, Sucker.
All right. So my first question is, since you're so knowledgeable about health and nutrition, a lot of people have said that a glass of wine a day or, alcohol in small doses is beneficial to one's health. And I was wondering what your opinion is about that, because a lot of people do partake in drinking.
Put alcohol in any kind of quantity, whether it's minuscule, minute, exiguous. You can't do it. It's loaded with toxins. The alcohol is poison. It has toxins. You can't put that through the gastrointestinal tract. You can't put that in the digestive system. You can't put that in the alimentary canal and expect to be healthy. You cannot do that. It's just like saying, well, I'm just going to smoke a couple of cigarettes a day. So you'll smoke a couple of cigarettes. It's better than smoking a whole pack, but it's still, you're putting in free radicals. You're putting in carcinogenic substances. You're putting death into your body. Why would you want to do something like that? Next.
All right, that answers that. So then the next question, kind of getting more into your personal life.
Yeah.
A lot of fans have been wondering if you're in touch with some people from your past, particularly like Violet Maliva, April Lockie. What's your relationship with them in 2020?
So I think I mentioned that one of the reasons that I abandoned April Lockie, and she has a lot of money. She lives in Long Beach. She has her own condominium. She lives right on the boardwalk. To this day, it's like, the address is like 25 East Broadway or 2 East Broadway something. She's on one of the sides there. She's right off the boardwalk. And she was so irreligious, almost to the point of being irreverent, sacrilegious. I think I alluded to this in the last show. I'll check my diary. That she said that all the money that she makes, the monies are mines, M-I-N-E-S. All monies that I make are mines. And I'm trying to explain to this girl with a 61 IQ, apparently, that everything, it belongs to God. Everything in the world belongs to God. The saliva in your mouth belongs to dear God. The hair on your head belongs to dear God. We own nothing. God is in control of everything. It's just like, for example, people come up to me like, throughout my life, and they've said to me like, Elegant, it's really bad. They tell me they've been diagnosed with coronary artery disease, or they had a myocardial infarction. So And all right, I just broke my thought because somebody just walked out. Okay, in any event, so back to the thought, they weren't diagnosed. God gave them that. So meaning the good and the bad is from dear God. So if they are diagnosed with myocardial infarction, or if they're diagnosed with pancreatic cancer or ovarian cancer, that's from God. If they have $1 billion in optimum health, that's from God. And we don't know the mysteries of dear God. We don't know what the inner workings of dear God are, but we do know everything is from dear God.
Okay, well, let's bring it back to the subject of health, because health is always appropriate.
Right.
I've been wondering, I hear a lot of people say certain hygiene products have cancerous effects, such as fluoride toothpaste and just your regular old stick of deodorant. Do you know anything about that? And if so,
what you said, sir? What was the deodorant you said?
just a standard stick of deodorant.
Stick
You know,
deodorant.
any given name brand deodorant, and then your standard fluoride toothpaste as well. Are those, in fact, to your knowledge, cancer causing, or is that just a bunch of Boulder Dash?
Boulder Dash.
Copycock.
Wow. Well, everybody is taking all the best lines of Miss Elegant, Boulder Dash, Hogwash, Poppycock, Manure, Bunk. Wow. That is great, Mr. Swift Sucker. That is great. So, I haven't been cognizant of anything like that, of a deodorant or a toothpaste. And I happen to use not the toothpaste from the health food stores. I use just one toothpaste like for 50 years, and I'm 70 years of age. I have never had an extraction. I have no implants in my life, nothing. And I've used one toothpaste. Would you like to know what it is?
Absolutely.
I use, when it first came out, now they've upgraded it, I use Sensodyne. I'm sure you've heard of it. Sensodyne, now they have the Sensodyne gum control and this control. So it's been Sensodyne toothpaste for 50 years, thereabouts. So I've always had that. And talking about oral hygiene, but keep in mind that, some people have their teeth cleaned, they're disgusting, like once a year, once in 2 years, once in 100 years. I have my teeth cleaned 4 times a year, every 3 months. So, okay.
Okay, awesome. So I gotta wrap it up with one last question
Yes,
here. And we'll bring it to something, bring up some people of the past here again.
Sure.
So this is a hypothetical. In 2020, how would it go down if you were to run into say Nadia Talby on the streets? How would that interaction go in 2020?
Well, I mean, what I'd like to happen, I'd like to slap her in the mouth about 12 times for stealing my money, for all the mendacious, erroneous, fallacious information she gave to Howard Stern. But because I don't want to go back to jail and I don't get involved with physical violence anymore, I would just get away from it. I'd like walk away, turn my back, get away from that atmosphere as quick as possible. But like I said, I would like to knock a few teeth out of her mouth, but I would not. I would not.
Right. Yep. So, Miss Elegant, I really appreciate you spending the time and answering these questions. And I look forward to asking you some more questions in the future to, please the fans.
Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next week.
Don't call him a he, cause she's a she. It's Elegant Elliot often. Don't call him a he, cause she's a she. It's Elegant Elliot often.